Hello, welcome to module number 3. As we get into module number 3, the topic here is getting value from IT. And so we're going to talk about three things, three aspects of getting value from IT. The first is IT strategic alignment. The other two pieces of this will be effective IT leadership. And then number 3, having effective IT governance. So let's talk about IT strategic alignment. First off, the traditional view of IT has really viewed technology as a cost center, the IT organization, where costs are to be minimized, where IT has been more reactive to the needs of the business. And so your CIO, your IT execs, were typically tasked with keeping the lights on, so to speak, reacting to the needs of the business, and not terribly strategic in terms of their involvement with business planning and strategy. Well, that's all changed. The emerging view of technology is really the role of technology more as a basis for competition. So the idea of leveraging digital technology to help companies deliver new products and services to help drive or facilitate competitive advantage. Some winning examples of this, as you can see here from the list, these are some older examples, and then of course some more recent examples of companies who have managed to leverage technology to really help them compete more effectively in their industries. So what's the, for lack of a better word, what's the secret sauce to success? So what is it about these companies who have been able to leverage IT for competitive advantage? And there are really two things I want to talk about here. First, they've been able to align their IT and business strategies. That's one. And then secondly, these organizations have been able to make the right organizational changes to support the IT strategy, what I would call an organizational transformation strategy. So these are two key elements of this notion of alignment. And so let's talk further about this. So let's start with number 1 here, aligning IT and business strategy. So think of a business strategy as simply how the company will achieve its goals, meet the expectations of its customers, sustain a competitive advantage in the marketplace. It's how they're going to go about doing their business. So Walmart, for example, good clear example, they clearly have a cost leadership business strategy. An IT strategy is simply a plan for technology and services that supports the existing business strategy. So what does it mean to align IT and business strategy? It's where the IT plans, goals, funding, everything they plan to do, it's explicitly linked towards achieving the business goals or objectives. And so I mentioned Walmart. Their investment in supply chain and logistics capabilities to drive their low-cost strategies is a very compelling example of this. So the IT strategy, supply chain and logistics, being very explicitly linked towards driving their low-cost strategy. So the benefits of aligning your IT and business strategies is that if you can do that, IT is going to act in concert with the needs of the business, and so it avoids unnecessary spending or IT running off in their own direction, taking on unnecessary projects that don't necessarily relate to the business focus. So this diagram here, I wanted to point out a couple things. In the case of Walmart, you could refer to IT as support is really where, Walmart has a very clear cost leadership strategy, and so the IT strategy emerges out of that. So the business strategy really helps to drive the IT strategy. So that's IT as support. There are other situations where IT could even be helping to drive or enable new business models. So maybe your CIO and other IT leaders are getting together with, senior management and say, hey, we could go in this whole new area, launch this whole new business model, maybe a whole new product that's really based on our IT capabilities. And so when that happens, I view that more as IT as an enabler. But regardless of whether you look at IT, this alignment as an enabler or in a support role, it's critically important for companies if they're going to get value from technology is the folks dealing with IT, your CIO and his or her team, need to be involved in honing and focusing their efforts on aligning with business strategy. So that's extremely critical. Now, along with this, well, let me just mention this. So I guess a discussion point, and we're not going to answer this, but a discussion point for you all is what are some keys to achieving tight alignment between IT and business strategy? So I think the concept is clear, but it's not may not easily be done in practice. So what do you need? What are some things? What are some keys to ensuring that in your organization, your IT is on the same page as the business side, where you're aligning both strategies? Okay, the next thing I want to talk about here is, so we talked about aligning IT and business strategy. The second thing is to get value from IT. Organizations need to have what I'd call an organizational transformation strategy. So that's this maybe isn't as clear, but it's a plan for organizational changes, for people, for processes, for culture, for reporting relationships, structures, in support of the IT strategy. So let's dig in a little bit deeper to this. So why is this necessary? Well, I think you could argue that whenever you implement new technology into an organization, it may require changes to existing work processes. You may need to restructure different units, changing reporting relationships. Cultural changes could have to do with getting people to buy in to the technology. Certainly in the medical, healthcare profession, having doctors work with certain types of technologies may change the way they interact with patients. And so the fact is that when you introduce technology into an organizational setting, even it may align with the business strategy, yes, but you have to make changes. You have to accommodate that technology through making changes, the appropriate changes organizationally, to accommodate the requirements imposed by the new technology. And I would argue that I just from my own personal experience, that this is the part left out by a lot of organizations. They get the right technology, it fits with what they're trying to do from a business standpoint. They implement it, but they don't really take care of making the right organizational changes for the technology to have the intended effects. So to summarize all this, what we've been talking about, I'll call it the strategic alignment framework. The information system strategy triangle really helps to illustrate or to graphically illustrate what we're talking about. So companies want to align their IT and their business strategies. We've talked about that. That's crucial. But along with that, organizations need to have an organizational transformation strategy that really defines what organizational changes need to be made to enable the IT strategy to work. Okay, so you need to have these three strategies in alignment, if that makes sense. I will look at an article in this module, Harris, called Diamonds in the Data Mine, and what they did, and I think it's a good illustration of this framework. I think an example of this, let's say you're at a bank, and a bank wants to implement a CRM system, and so you could argue, okay, from the standpoint the bank wants to follow, part of their strategy is just customer relationship management, and want to do a really good job with that. Okay, the CRM is a technology that helps to drive that business goal or that business strategy. So that would be a technology that's deployed that definitely would align with the business strategy. Now, but along with that, implementing the CRM system, there has to be training, change management. They may have to change existing business processes. I mean, how do they handle new clients? How do they go out and acquire new clients? How do they service clients? It could require new organizational structures. So maybe rather than 3 or 4 people managing a client, maybe you have a single relationship manager, new reporting relationships. So all I'm saying is, again, you have to think about, what organizational changes do we need to make to accommodate the technology. So a discussion point here, why do you think this often gets overlooked by companies? And so that's just something I want you to think about. And I really do think that this is something that just sometimes just isn't on the radar screen of companies as they deploy technology. Just a quick example, just from my own experience. So when I worked in Miami, a datacom communications distributor, so we ship products down into the whole southern hemisphere. And so these were, looking back from this experience, I was the operations manager. These were things that were really important, I think, from our business. We had to do really well. So business levers, these are things, you know, in your particular industry, you have to do real well. So for us to do well, we had to, these were things that we needed to do a good job at. Now, looking back here, our IT strategy was non-existent because we were on manual paper-based systems, and so our systems, in this case paper-based systems, really inhibited our ability to execute the strategy, particularly having good inventory visibility. So we just couldn't deliver in a lot of ways. Now, we had great people working, and we did our best. So what we did is we implemented a local instance of an ERP system in our office in Miami, but it's also connected to other offices throughout the country, 3 other offices. So we automated all of the whole sales order entry process. This was all integrated and automated inventory control, billing, and accounts receivable. And most importantly, it allowed for inventory visibility across all locations. So we had a customer call in from Colombia. We could see immediately if we had the stock in our own inventory, and if not, we could find it at another location. We could have it drop shipped to our location, or sent even directly to the customer. So in the end, we had just tremendous business results in terms of impacting our key business levers, in the end satisfied customers. Now, what's interesting about this, so first off, the ERP implementation was aligned with our business strategy. You could certainly argue that. But I was the one who, when we implemented this system, and this is one of the business units within this company, I headed up the implementation, and from an organizational transformation strategy process, these are some things I had to do. I had to redesign business processes throughout the organization. Employee training and change management was critical. And to be honest, we did have some resistance. But the important point here is that I had to manage these aspects of the implementation. So I had to make these necessary organizational changes. Had I not done this, the implementation may have failed. So to summarize here, I'm going to skip over this. To get value from IT, you have to align IT with the business strategy, the IT strategy with the business strategy. Accompany this with this alignment with the appropriate organizational change. So this is, and so these 2 steps here that I've just mentioned are really illustrated and captured by the framework that we looked at earlier called the Information Systems Strategy Triangle.